fresh off her victory from TechCrunch San Francisco Disrupt Hackathon is Jem Ohm, and she is the creator of WiseDame. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I know you gave your 60-second spiel up there, but for the viewers who weren't able to catch it, give us the synopsis of what your iPhone app does.
My iPhone app is a black box, like in airplanes. I hope that means something to you. For women who go out. So a black box in airplanes, what that means is a plane crashes and it records the last, I think 24, I'm not an expert, it records a lot of information from right before the crash. And it's an indestructible box, so that even if the plane goes down, you know exactly what happened. It has recordings from the instrumentation and everything like that. So the idea behind this app is that it provides information about what you were last doing before an emergency occurs.
It's a very different concept than what a lot of people at the hackathon were working on. I mean, there was probably like a dozen or so groups who were working on Groupon-like clones, right? So it's not the obvious choice. How did this idea come about?
Well, I have a natural disaffinity for businesses that I feel are targeted to kill other businesses. And I feel like that's kind of what Groupon clones sort of are. But the woman thing, it was a personal thing. I see the value in it. When I go out, I try to tell people, hey, I'm going to be at this place, and I'm going to be back by, I think, 3 a.m. Check in on me, make sure I get in. And sometimes they forget, or sometimes I don't find someone to call. And so I kind of wanted a tool that everyone could use that made sure that didn't happen, that facilitated that, and kind of encouraged women to be into their security, as we should be.
Yeah.
I mean, we are, but it keeps us consistent.
Yeah. Now, we got a chance to chat before this interview, and you mentioned that during the hackathon, you were going around to different tables and talking to the women that were here. I mean, there weren't a ton of women at the hackathon, but of the ones that were here, you tried to kind of do a straw poll, figure out what they wanted out of security and an iPhone app, right? Can you talk about your discussions and how that influenced the direction of this eventual app?
Definitely. So my first image of the app was start out by basically saying these people have access to my history and they can kind of get it when they want. And then I realized that I talked to one girl and she said, I'm a very private person, and I don't want someone to know my stuff unless something goes wrong. And I don't want to bother people. So like if I give someone, even if I say it's just for tonight, they have access to it, I don't want to do that because I don't want them to be notified ahead of time. I only want them to know afterwards because I don't want to bother them. And women, I feel, commonly have that issue of we want things to be easy on other people. I think that's a human thing. Everybody wants things to be easy on other people, unless you're not a very nice person. But yeah, okay. And I talked to another girl I talked to a couple other girls who seconded my opinion of, yes, I think about my security all the time. Yes, this is how I go about with my personal security when I go out, and this is how my thought process goes. And that was really useful to me because you need to make sure that people are kind of thinking the same way. Otherwise, you'll make a product that nobody uses except you.
Yeah. So now you have the opportunity to present your app at Disrupt on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for that reason, and also I imagine that you want to continue this startup even beyond that, how are you going to continue to tweak it? Because it's kind of an interesting idea of trying to ensure the safety of women, but then you have this whole, you know, privacy versus like trying to prevent, you know, false alarms and all that. So how do you kind of walk that line and make sure it's as effective as it can be, while also taking into consideration people's concerns about privacy and also the fact that you don't want to scare your friends too much?
By getting it wrong several times. So basically, open discussion, iteration of design, I don't need to get it right the first
Yeah.
time. I mean, it's not in the field yet, so it doesn't need to be perfect. I just need to keep being like, this feature makes sense, and then this feature makes sense, this feature makes sense, and then people say, no, that doesn't work for me. Because you just need that constant exchange. That's how you develop a good idea.
And you told me that you recently worked for Apple under their security department of sorts.
I
Or
did.
What were you doing with Apple, and how has that kind of helped you along the thought process here?
So Apple's a very secretive company, and I was in security, but it put me in the mindset of thinking about effortless security. Because it comes up and up, it comes up again and again. How can we draw the line between usability and security? And women want to be secure, but it's not always easy, as I was saying before, for you to protect yourself or to make sure that somebody's checking up on you. So I wanted to make it as effortless as possible. I wanted to make it so you could be actively engaged in this application or passively engaged in this application, and either way it would offer you security.
Yeah, no, gotcha. Now, my final question is, you have roughly 72 hours or so to perfect your app. Well, not perfect it, but at least get it to a different stage. So what are you going to be focusing on? What's your strategy? And what do you want to accomplish by Wednesday?
I have no idea. That's my answer. I honestly can't comment on that because I have no idea. I would have to sit and discuss it and think about it. I guess I will start by trying to implement the passive parts of my application and getting some feeds in and seeing if that actually makes sense to start aggregating that data. I think what I'll be able to do is have all that data coming in, but not necessarily a great algorithm for analyzing that.
Gotcha.
So
Well,
that's my goal.
thanks so much.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Congratulations again, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Awesome.